We're back.
We're back, baby.
Wait, baby. No, we're back. Another day, another dollar. More recording. Tyler.
Yo.
Can you tilt that phone so it's actually straight? My bad. We do this. We should do pre-checks. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're all good.
We're good. Let's go.
This week's topic.
Interestingly, me and Dan have been discussing this for a while. Well, for a brief moment, because Dan did a little bit of research into it and came across a few things. We're going to talk about different types of cameras. Now, in the photography world, everyone knows DSLR.
Dum dum dum.
The standard model of cameras that most photographers nowadays use. But there is a new competitor that might mark the way for future photographers' arsenals of cameras. That being the mirrorless camera. Now, Dan,
Mirrorless!
As you did a little more research into it than me, how should we explain
the difference?
Well, just first off, how does a mirrorless camera work, and then we can compare the two.
So a DSLR camera.
I meant to start with mirrorless.
You want to start with mirrorless?
Okay, no, actually DSLR.
Yeah, so the way that a DSLR camera works, it has two mirrors, or one mirror, that bounces the light up into the viewfinder / into the sensor. So you have the sensor, the light comes through, and the mirror projects it onto the sensor.
Reflects it onto the sensor, yeah.
With a mirrorless camera, I believe, this is very vague, but the technology is slightly different, so that basically the light goes straight onto the sensor. Yeah, there's no mirrors involved into reflecting.
Yeah, instead of it being a physical sensor, it's more of an electronic thing. So the light, instead of going bam, bam, it kind of just goes straight through, it hits the sensor, and then it's displayed on an electronic viewfinder on your thing, I believe.
Yeah.
They're also a lot more lightweight than DSLRs are.
Lightweight, not as chunky. Typically, autofocus is absolutely insane, depending on which brand. But from DSLR to mirrorless, the autofocus will just be quicker.
Yeah.
They've normally got better computing power.
But, so yeah, on a whole, mirrorless seems like a nice step forward. We was talking about it before, in terms of like where it would go in the next 10 years or so. I
think you were even, from when we last spoke, I've seen a lot of articles. I actually think it will be the next 2 or 3.
Possibly. Yeah, I mean, when we were looking at it, when we were looking at reviews on it, the technology was still quite new.
Yeah.
Still quite old articles, and at that point, mirrorless was lagging behind on a lot of different things. Main one being battery power. It couldn't compete against the DSLR in terms of how long of a life each battery had.
And that was just due to the amount of electrical things that it had to output.
Yeah, because
lenses were limited because manufacturers were still for catering for DSLR.
Mm-hmm.
That's no longer the case.
No, they're splitting it up a bit more now. It's definitely more mirrorless focused.
And the other thing that we would want to talk about was the lenses that we currently have being used on other cameras. So we at the minute use Canon. So we've got a good selection, I would say, so far. I want to improve on that selection, but then that means if I improve on that selection, I'm trying to think of the future. So if I had Canon, mirrorless cameras, there's an adapter that Canon sell so that you can still use your old lenses.
Yeah, the way forward that we wanted to take everything was if these mirrorless cameras are really becoming a big thing, we want to hop on that trend, but at the same time we do want to do it as cost efficient as we can. So obviously we're not a big brand, we're not streaming in income, we can't really afford to just splash cash on things as expensive as that at this point. But as when we were speaking about it in the past, it was because we were with a specific brand of Canon, although we did dip into looking at cameras, mirrorless cameras for like.
We want to go Sony.
Yeah.
So
Sony
in an ideal world, we want to go for Sony, but actually, some of the Canon mirrorless cameras are very good.
I think overall, we were being too picky on what was the best.
Yeah, and they have their pros and cons.
I think every brand has their pros and cons, and at the end of the day, Canon is as reliable as you get for a camera brand. So I believe that any mirrorless camera that we look in the future of getting for each other, like ourselves, are.
Unfortunately, I think they are. For the time being, they are going to have to be Canon. Canon are slightly cheaper than Sony in the mirrorless range at the minute. I know that people go, oh, but you've got this Sony that comes in here. I'm talking about like the Mark IV and the Mark III.
Yeah.
The A7 Mark III, A7 IV, and you get the R editions and the S editions and all that bollocks. But overall, Canon came in at a slightly cheaper price point. Now, because we've already got our lenses for our current cameras and we are hoping to use our current cameras still for a couple of more years, then ideally the 200D that I've got, I'll probably never get rid of.
No. It's always nice to have, because even if we get mirrorless, it's always nice to have, like, for example, this is why it will be so cost efficient in the long run. We could still progress our photography and buy lenses for the cameras we do own, and then when then all we need is an adapter. We can make the switch to mirrorless when it gets to that. So when we make that switch, we'll have all those lenses at our disposal.
Yeah.
And then if you keep our old cameras, we've then got allows us to go to things like proms or weddings with two cameras. One of them with a specific lens for a specific type shot we're looking for. Another one. It saves time It's more time management than having to. 1 sec, I need to switch this out.
And the thing is that mirrorless is still relatively new. Hopefully, with the new technology and the more cameras that there are, the cheaper the budget. Because even if you search for like budget mirrorless, they're still coming in at £600-700, and the top end are coming in at £4,000.
We saw some for £4,000 plus.
So at the minute they're still very expensive. So I think in the next couple of years, if they bring out more and the more lenses become available, then they would naturally become cheaper. Something that we definitely want to move to, because like autofocus, when you're at weddings, proms, and even just at the events that we've been doing, such as the just like parties and blog and like performances, having that autofocus there is good because you capture the moment. It's quick. There's not none of this. Oh fuck! Oh god! Oh my god! I'm now some focus. I've missed the moment. It's boom, done.
Yeah, I mean, I'll touch on it a little bit. I mean, we'll talk about it later in a different episode. But with my model of camera, I could make it work. I could take nice photos for the event I was at. But one thing I really did struggle with was finding a snappy autofocus for the right moments. It was very 1 minute I could be autofocusing nicely, next minute it would be kind of where it just couldn't find and couldn't sync on.
Do you want to tell them what happened to that camera?
Yeah, well,
rest in peace.
I was going to touch on it later on when we got to the other, but yeah, I might as well say it now. So just as a quick overview, I did a prom. Everything was going fine. Photos were coming out. We were making sales on prints. Everything was going smooth, nice. And for the photography-based audience that are watching this, you guys will know that tripods have a quick release, which allows you to take the camera.
Good tripods.
Good tripods will have a quick release, which allows you to quickly take the camera off the tripod without having to go and unscrew it and spin it around, whatever. On the other hand, my quick release wasn't secured to the camera, and when I was focusing on taking a portrait shot in which my camera needed to be tilted, it fell off the quick release, snapping my lens completely in half. Thankfully, it was towards the end of the prom where I'd pretty much gotten a good 100 photos.
Luckily, you had your other lens, and we
did have a backup.
And we had quickly adapted, readjusted.
Yeah, I had a backup lens, but the more stranger scenario was photos were being taken, put everything away, my equipment away, all fine. I got to Dan's afterwards, and the the
LCD screen.
The LCD screen display had a massive crack through the middle, and you couldn't see anything on it. And it was pretty much the last time I got to use my camera and the lens. They both went under. But having said that, I would have had. I mean, I'm trying to look on the bright side here. I would have had to sell them anyway if I moved to Canon because I wouldn't be able to use that lens.
It's twisted your arm because you're now going to be using the 2000D that is a part of Mason Productions' inventory. So you're going to start using that. Me and Sarah are actually going to a camera shop tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We might not buy anything, but we might end up picking up a new camera. We don't know. We've got enough money in the business. We've got a couple of things that we want to buy. Having that second camera, I think, is something that would be. Mm-hmm. Ideally, I want to buy 2 cameras, but with the budget, we can't buy 2. We can only buy 1 if we ever want to buy 1. So we're umming and ahhing about what it is, but we're going to a professional camera shop. Unfortunately, Tyler can't come with us because he's at work, but we will be making another trip with Tyler. But we might end up buying a mirrorless camera tomorrow. We don't know. I doubt it because they're expensive and we don't have that type of budget. But ultimately, I do think that we might end up buying some new gear, even if it is just a new lens. Because I want to buy a new lens that ranges from like 24mm to like 80.
I mean, at the moment, I'm sticking with a default lens because
you've got the kit lens.
I haven't got Dan's got his own.
So I've got a kit lens and I've got a 70-300, and at the minute you've only got the 18-55.
Mm-hmm. Which I mean, so I think for me personally, my main focus would be to, getting the camera sorted, then focusing on like different lenses I need, because we know when we eventually make that upgrade, we'll have because at the end of the day, the lens has a massive impact.
Yeah, like obviously
types of shots anyway.
Like the 18-55 is good because it has that wide aspect, but also what I want is a portrait lens. But I want the portrait so that we could do whole body and just headshots. So that's why I'm sort of thinking of like a 24mm to like a 120mm ish. Obviously, I'll speak to the professional guy tomorrow. But no, I think the mirrorless and DSLR debate is a huge one. It's splitting people at the minute because people, it's a fad. It will just mirrorless cameras have their place. Mm. At the minute, they are dominating anything that requires quick autofocus. Yeah. Weddings, parties, anything sort of like that. The only thing that DSLR are still being used for, I don't know, I maybe just be chatting shit here, but like portraits, landscape photography is one thing. Wildlife photography is another thing that is being used by DSLR cameras.
I think wildlife photography, especially because of the battery life, you sometimes, to get the perfect shots, you need to be sat there.
Sat, like that time that we went out.
Yeah.
We went out at what?
Well, we got up at 6.
We got to the place at what, 6:30?
Yeah.
And we was there until 1, 2.
Yeah, well, we waited until sunrise passed, and then we tried to track the deer down to get a photograph. And
then we did the night before.
We was there for a few hours then, because that's when we went to pick up the tent after.
Yeah, so like, you could be out for hours and hours and hours. I do plan, while I've got this week off, to try and catch some wildlife photography. On the way down the road just then, the deer, local deer of the farm have given birth to 2 ewes. I think that's what you call them.
I'm not actually sure, to be honest.
I won't say ewes. I maybe baby deer.
Yeah, let's go with the.
They've had 2 baby deer, so the deers are now going to be out and about. I thought that I hadn't seen them in a long time. I thought that they were hiding. I thought that maybe they'd died, but no, they'd gone into hiding to have 2 beautiful babies. So there's going to be some brilliant wildlife opportunities coming out now. We have lots of birds of prey at the farm. We've got lots of things that we can be taking photos of.
Yeah, the farm has a lot of different things. I think as well, when we get more broad on our lenses, where me and Dan are at a point where eventually, ideally, what I want is for us both to be equipped with a good 200 to 700mm lens and just camp out and just get the juiciest, natural looking shots we can get.
I've also been looking at a magnifier. So it clips onto the camera, and then your lens clips into the magnifier.
Right.
So it turns your 70 to 300 into a 140 to 600.
Does that not mess quality up though?
No, because it's an official Canon magnifier.
Interesting. Well, that might be worth looking into if it's a cheaper alternative.
And a lot of people do that as an option.
That's fair enough. I can see
But like that, I've got to speak to professionals, like that it may autofocus. Because sometimes when you add an adapter on to things, the autofocus is not an option.
Yeah.
So one of the things touching on, if we do go to mirrorless, our videography, we will have to buy lenses that are made for mirrorless cameras. So the autofocus works on pictures, doesn't work on video.
Right, okay, yeah, that's definitely worth noting down.
So that's one of the things that we have to take into consideration. It's a big debate, lots to talk about, and we're not that well educated to give you should buy a mirrorless, you should buy a DSLR, but it is a chat that we've had within ourselves.
It's a good one to talk about with starting photographers, or maybe people who are at the same level as us, because it's pretty much our own opinions. We're learning what equipment works for us and what we should move to ourselves. We're by no means full on photography experts.
No, the thing is that we are very good at picking out moments, and we're very good at getting the client happy. It's still things that we can improve on, and ultimately, because this has become our life, we have been researching lots, and we are very happy with the steps that we've made. I just think it's all down to personal preference, and it's down to what you take photos with. Like, I was in a forum the other day, and they were talking. Some person went, "I want to upgrade from my 200D," and somebody went, "What do you want to improve?" "I want to improve my pictures," and the person said, "Well, that tells me that it's down to your skill."
Mm-hmm.
If you're upgrading a camera that's 24 megapixel to a 24 megapixel, your picture quality isn't getting any better.
Yeah.
The autofocus might be better, the colours might come out slightly better. But ultimately, we've seen people that we know, or know through Instagram, who have made beautiful pictures on their phones. Beautiful pictures on Polaroid cameras. It is down to, as this person rightly said, it's down to the user, not the camera. But the camera can help you. A camera can help a novice become intermediate, but from intermediate to expert, it's all down to skill.
Yeah, absolutely. You can give a complete newbie a really expensive mirrorless camera, and a professional photographer a simple entry level. 9 times out of 10, he'll take a much better shot.
Because the thing is the way that you got to see this is that it's not just the pictures, it's the story behind the picture. Mm-hmm. It's the story behind what is there for the picture.
It's not just that, but it's knowing how to use lighting to your advantage, when to time your photos at the right time, what angles will
what settings are you going to use if you're not going to use auto, what settings are you going to use if you're going to, there's lots of things.
There's so many things to consider, and with people that have kind of mastered that ability to work stuff out, not only quick, but to a level of degree where they can get that perfect shot. Like, they know exactly what to tweak, know exactly what to time, whereas someone with no clue, they're just going to point and shoot and hope for the best.
Hope for the best. But is there anything that you specifically want to talk about? This could be a short podcast. Is there anything that you specifically want to discuss about the mirrorless and DSLR?
One thing I would like the opportunity to do, which is one thing we spoke about before, is just to try the camera out.
Oh yes, I remember now. We are going to a shop tomorrow, me and Sarah, and they offer a rental service. Mm-hmm. So there is a potential that we may be renting some gear to see how we get along with it. Mm. And then what if we think it's good, we can send the stuff back. If we don't think it's good, then we...
Gives you an idea though, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's a small charge for it, but it's nothing crazy, and like that we can just rent the gear out to sort of test. But yeah, that's something that we're looking forward to, is actually testing gear, renting it out, testing it, seeing how we're doing, getting on.
It will be, yeah, and it's nice to, in the long run, see how our equipment develops. Like, as our budget increases, the more things we look at getting, and we get to that, not a plateau, but a standpoint where we have all the lenses we need, we have the cameras we're confident in, as well as confident in ourselves, and it's kind of just, let's explore. It's kind of if I put this as an analogy, it's like a game. You get to that highest level in the game, and then you're kind of free to just do what you want.
Do what you want. You've completed all the main missions. Now just go off and do the sites.
Yeah, and that's where the beauty of photography comes in, because it'll literally be like, for example, I got a free weekend. Dan's like, Tyler, grab your 200 to 700 mil. I think this camera would work. Let's go get these shots.
Yeah.
Bang. And then we can start, instead of pinpointing, let's go try this or try that, it'll be, this is a shot I want, this is the kind of angle I want it, let's go. It's kind of like fishing for like a rare fish, but instead of it being a rare fish, it's kind of like that one good shot you spend it.
We know where the fish is, we just got to catch it type thing. Yeah.
Simple as that.
But no, please, guys, join us in our debate. Please drop us messages, talk to us, leave comments down below. We as you can see on all of our Instas and socials of YouTube and Spotify, we get involved in the comments. So if there's something that you want to talk about, just drop us a message and we'll speak to you. We'll try to help you and we'll have a debate. Whether you think that mirrorless are a pile of wank, let us know.
And if any of you do end up, like, any viewers are long-standing professional photographers or have a lot more experience than us, we're open to feedback and any insight you guys have for your own experience using cameras.
Tell us what you noticed when you moved from camera to camera. So from DSLR to mirrorless, what was the biggest changes that you had?
Yeah.
Please let us know. But no, I think
it's all down to curiosity.
Yeah, please. It's been nice just chatting. I hope that you guys have enjoyed our waffle. And please, get involved in the comments. Please let us know what you think. And I guess we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. This has been Tyler from Mason Productions.
And Dan, peace out. Boom.